Hi all, so here's a dissection of a fetus pig. It is 30 centimeters in length and is light pink with it being on its back. This is a male pig since it has a sort of a bulge over here as well as this urinary tract behind the urethral cord.
So over here we can see the wrist of the pig right in this area, and then the wrist will lead to the elbow and then to the shoulder, which is located right over here. And the arm right here. And so basically the pig has digits, which the wrist connects to the arm, and here, right here are the digits. And so this large area is the thoracic cavity, and over here is the abdominal cavity. The thoracic cavity defining characteristics are basically has more of the respiratory and pulmonary organs, while the abdominal cavity has more of the digestive ones.
So here's the hard palate, which crushes the food that is not crushed by the teeth, which is about to form over here. You have the beginning of the tooth to start appearing on the side. Over here is the soft palate that pushes the food into the pharynx. It's right above the pharynx, and it's what prevents the food from going down the lungs, as well as the epiglottis, which slams shut whenever food comes down.
So first the food goes through the mouth right here, so you can feel it's really bumpy here, mostly to break down food, and then so it goes down and reaches the esophagus, as you can see lifted by the probe right here. It's very tough. So basically the esophagus, it's used to contract, it uses contractions to move the food down into the stomach right over here, and you can see closer the connection right here to the stomach, and then over the stomach lays the liver, which is made up of multiple portions, and then under it and under the stomach is the pancreas.
And the pancreas produces enzymes to further digest in the small intestines, as well as regulate insulin.
So, and then from the pancreas, we can move on to the small intestine and the large intestine. The function of these is to gather nutrients from the already digested food. And the large intestine absorbs water as well as the colon to produce the waste and make it harden. So basically, there's no food in the stomach or in the intestines in this specimen because it's still a fetus. Although you can see some food right here, you see if we scrape it off, it's basically just proteins still flowing around in the mother's womb, and it gets into the pig, but it's not actual food.
Okay, so right underneath the colon or the large intestines, we have this rectum that gets pulled out and eventually gets pooped. Okay, so it's kind of like falling off, but here we have the diaphragm, which is a muscle basically contracting and causing negative pressure, causing the air to come in through into the lungs, and that causes the oxygen to be absorbed, and then whenever it generates positive pressure, then the air will want to come out, and then the carbon dioxide will be diffused into the air around it, basically completing the respiratory system.
Okay, so the trachea over here is a tube that leads into the lungs, and basically when we move around it with the probe, it is bumpy. And so right down here, we can see the lungs, so one is right here on this side and the other one's on the other side of the heart. You can't see it, but it's right over there. And so basically these are used to of course, breathe, and they are very flat on the bottom here and totally fit in with the diaphragm right here. The heart is located in the middle of the two lungs. So basically it's good that it's located here because it can pump blood directly into the lungs. Circulatory system, which includes the heart, is so important to mammals because basically it helps pump blood all the way throughout the body.
And you've got the left ventricle over here to pump the rest of the body, the right ventricle to go directly to the lungs, and it doesn't need that much space. As you can see here, the right ventricle is a lot smaller because all it has to do is pump blood to the lungs, and everything else is just this one.
So up here, these flaps are the right auricle and the left auricle. So these are separate from the heart because it just needs to be smaller because it doesn't need to pump as much throughout the body.
And then one of them will pump from the lungs to get oxygen into the heart and then out to the rest of the body. And one pumps from the rest of the body to be pumped into the lungs and to be recycled with the carbon dioxide out, oxygen in.
So you can see one of the veins that leads into the heart right in here, and another one that leads away right over there. Right here is the aorta, and basically pumps out of the left ventricle and goes all the left ventricle and goes all the way to the heart. So here we see the kidney, and basically through this pink vein right here, the blood enters and the kidney cleans it out from. And right here, another tube leading from the kidney is the ureter, sorry. And it leads to the bladder after this organism pees out.
So the kidney, if it were to stop functioning properly, we wouldn't be able to get rid of the toxins from the circulatory system, and you'd probably die. Moving on, the purpose of the endocrine system is to exert hormones for other cells to react, like how the
and it regulates distant tissues by and secretions of toxins directly into the circulatory system. So basically, the thyroid is part of this. So, and it's right there. And another organ part of it is the spleen. So it's basically this flabby tissue that is kind of next to the stomach, although we pulled it away.
This thing is the thing that creates red blood cells. It is usually the first thing that gets killed in a car accident, but we don't really need it because stuff like bone marrow also produces red blood cells. This is the pancreas, which is also part of the endocrine system. As stated before, it creates enzymes for the stomach and also creates hormones to regulate blood sugar homeostasis.
Okay, thank you. That was our video of our pig dissection. Bye.